Hello, and welcome to another episode of The End of the Search. This one I call it, Is it possible to live without enemies? The answer is absolutely yes. But let me explain to you now what I mean by that. In the world of appearances, duality, well, not everyone is going to like you. And there's going to be people who may have very strong feelings about you, and I could say in this case negative feelings about you. When you look at Jesus, for example, he was crucified within the context of the illusion, of course. Not everybody loves Buddha. Not everybody agrees or loves Nisargadatta Mahara or Ramana Maharshi, which all of them were exemplifications of pure love, of truth, you see? Because in the world of appearances there is duality. And in duality there's the two different opposites. So within the world, no, you will not have everybody liking you, but we're talking about the content of the mind. See, somebody may want to separate themselves from you, but if you have love in your heart, meaning if you have peace in your heart, which is, let's use that word better, and you don't judge them for what they do, how they behave, like Jesus would say, Father, forgive them for they know not what they do. If you don't judge them, that person is not your enemy in your mind. In the world of appearances, the person may seem or perceive itself as that. Remember, there's no person, there's no you, but I'm using this context first before we go to what these videos are always all about. But when your mind is at peace, because there's no judgment, you see, then you don't have any enemies, in spite of how anybody behaves. All you see is truth. Well, truth cannot be seen conceptually, but what I mean is that you rest in the peace, in the love that you are, and it doesn't matter how anybody wants to behave towards you or thinks about you. It doesn't affect the peace in which you rest. And when you rest in that peace, you have no enemies, because the only enemy is in your mind. It's a concept. If somebody says something to you, if your mind is filled with hatred, you can interpret it as a hateful attack or whatever. But if you have only love in your heart, you don't see the attack as a hateful attack. You simply see it as somebody saying words, maybe with a particular tone, you see? But that's it. I'm not talking physical attack or something like that. I'm talking about verbal or psychological, you see? All you see is simply a seeming person that is saying something, and because you know who you are, you know who that person is, which is not a person, of course. And then you recognize that everyone is acting according to their conditioning. It's not their fault. They're not doing anything to you. They're acting according to the way, again, they were conditioned. The same thing that we are acting the way we were conditioned. We were conditioned to believe that we're a person, and now we're conditioned with certain values, certain rules, certain beliefs. Well, we're not acting according to the truth of what we are. We're acting according to this conditioning. But now what we're doing is that the conditioning can be seen, you see, and when you can see the conditioning in you, then you can see the conditioning in everyone. And now by being able to pass through the conditioning, now you see that all that there is the underlying energy, call it love, essence, and now you're not distracted by the appearances, you see. And in that sense, because you know that you are the ever-present energy, call it love, then you don't have any enemies, because everything that you're seeing is yourself. You're not seeing anybody else. You're always seeing yourself. The appearance of an identification with a separate self, like an I of a person, that's what makes believe that others are something separate than me. But if I am, then all that there is the I amness. And in that sense, all that there is God, nothing else. Truth, love. So these videos are not about how to behave towards others. These videos are about getting to know what you are, and that is that which you are. It simply is. And when you rest in that which you are, then everything else can be perceived, but it's not going to be a distraction to the essence of your beingness, which is what these videos are pointing to. It's not about how to behave. In beingness, the behavior is very organic. And the behavior is going to come according to the conditioning. So if you still believe you're a person, well, with the limitations, your behavior is going to reflect that, and the behavior of everyone is going to reflect their own conditioning. But if you know who you are, if you're resting in the essence that you are, then yeah, the behavior of the seeming others may appear to be there, but you're not distracted by it, and that's how you can see love in everything. Mother Teresa, somebody asked her, well, you look at all these people doing all these horrible things and everything, and she said, that's what you see. I see Jesus, I see Christ in all its different disguises. Well, in order for you to see that love, in everyone and in everything, is because you have recognized that in yourself. And the way you recognize that in yourself is not conceptually. It's not that conceptually I'm saying I am love. No, because that's still the mind, it's still the sense of identity that is saying I am love. What I'm pointing to is that if you don't identify with any thoughts, when you don't identify with the content of the mind, you are love. Because when you don't identify with the content of the mind, you're free of judgment. You see, judgment is mind, it's translation. But without the content of the mind, without believing in it, there's no judgment. All that there is are thoughts, and that's it. And then you see people as just thoughts. You see things as thoughts. You look at the behavior and you don't judge it. You see it as just that, people acting in a particular way. But because there's not the conceptual mind translating, then you're fine. Everything is fine. Life is just happening, and you are. And that's what this is pointing to. And this is how you rest in the peace that passes all understanding, in the love that you are, the essence which is unmutable, it's unmovable, which is eternal. And again, this is not something that the mind can conceptualize. You cannot trap this with the mind, but you can never negate the direct experience of being when the mind is not in the way. Now the mind is used for functionality, that's all. But it's not used to become your advisor. It's not used to try to tell you what's true or what's not true. It's just simply, again, you're moving through life is happening, and you find yourself, see how things are done, but you're resting in beingness because that's what you are. And that's what these videos are about. It's not about achieving a particular state. It's not about in the future getting to become something or someone or whatever. It's about right now. If you don't identify with the content of the mind, what is left? And what is left is life. And you are life. You are that. You see? That is the peace, again, that passes all understanding. And it's so obvious, so simple, and it's overlooked because the thought of the identity, the thought of I am this person, I am this individual. And you don't need to undo that thought, because you cannot undo that thought, because you are being thought yourself. It's just simply pointing to what is obvious right now, again, without trying to undo anything or doing anything. If you don't identify with the content of the mind, if you don't identify with your thoughts, whatever they are, it doesn't matter. If they're seen as such, but you don't identify with them, what's left? Don't answer me, because you go back to the mind. I'm simply pointing to what is. See? And then you go, oh. And it's not that you go, oh, it's just, again, limitation of language, but you see, life is unfolding. From the moment I wake up in the morning, whatever you want to call me, life happens. And then I see how it unfolds. I don't know what life is going to do with this instrument. I never know. I never know what is the next word that is going to come out of my mouth. I never know what is the next thought that is going to be thought. I never know what is the next feeling or sensation that will come out. All I know is that life is unfolding, and that's it. And I am life. You are life. You are it. That's all that there is. Life, isness. And that's the simplicity of all this. There's no need to search for anything. I don't need to look for anything. I am. You are. We're resting in the I am. And that's it. And well, this is the inspiration that came through this instrument. Life is using this body, or whatever you want to call it, to say these kinds of things, so I hope it served. And as always, may peace permeate the mind so that love can be extended.